Chair recognizes Hayden Ratner, the chairman of the Committee on Order of Business, for a report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I share our report, I did feel like the necessity to get to lunch distracted us from appropriately honoring you for the powerful sermon that you delivered to us here today. So brothers and sisters, would you help me honor President Bart Barber for the address, biblical, clear, and unifying to us right before the lunchtime. Thank you, President, for that. We honor you. The Committee on Order of Business reports to the convention its disposition for some of the motions made during the morning session. SBC Bylaw 26 provides that motions which deal with the internal operations or ministries of an entity shall be automatically referred to the elected board of the entity for consideration and report to the next annual meeting of the convention. Therefore, the Committee on Order of Business determined these motions be automatically referred to the respective SBC Bylaw 14 entities as follows. To the North American Mission Board, Parker Roberts from Georgia presented a motion to request NAM submit to a forensic audit from the previous fiscal year and it be published expediently. To Lifeway Christian Resources, Tim Overton from Indiana presented a motion to request Lifeway publish textbooks for homeschool students. To all the entities, Paul Montgomery from Oklahoma presented a motion to request all entities to only use outside legal counsel whose values reflect the Baptist Faith and Message 2000 on gender and sexuality.
Under the convention's rules, these motions are referred as indicated by the Committee on Order of Business. Microphone 6A, would you please state your name, your church, and your point of order or request?
Yes, my name is Randy Mann, pastor and messenger from Wake Crossroads Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I just had a parliamentary inquiry regarding if this would be or when would be the appropriate time to propose an amendment to the remaining order of business schedule.
So it would not be in order now. It could be a motion that you could make at the end of this report by the Committee on Order of Business.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is the convention's long-standing practice that motions regarding complex matters be referred to the Executive Committee for its consideration. Under the standing rules of this convention, all amendments to the SBC governing documents are automatically referred to the Executive Committee in their first year of proposal. Rhett Burns from South Carolina presented a motion to amend the SBC Business and Financial Plan to require all convention entities to disclose all financial information included in Form 990. Kristen Ferguson from California presented a motion to ask the EC to amend Bylaw 20 relating to resolutions. Jonathan Raffini from Texas presented a motion to amend Bylaw 8 to require credential committees to vote of messengers final to ask the EC to amend Bylaw 8 regarding the Credentials Committee. And Megan Lively from North Carolina presented a motion to amend the ministry assignment of the ERLC to address sexual abuse awareness and prevention or request the Executive Committee to create a new entity to address sexual abuse awareness and prevention.
Under the convention's rules, these motions are referred as indicated by the Committee on Order of Business. Microphone 1A, would you please state your point of order or urgent request?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. My name is Parker Roberts, pastor and messenger of Mount Vernon Baptist Church in Baxley, Georgia. I made the motion previously, and I was just curious why it was given to NAM when the motion itself was worded to the convention, for the convention to make a request. And there were also 4 distinct individual audits, types of audits requested, and yet only one was mentioned in that motion.
Okay, so I can answer part of that. I can tell you that the reason why it's abbreviated is because we're trying to be economic in our use of time, but the entire motion is being referred as you made it Does the committee wish to speak to the rationale for the referral?
No.
Okay. Very good.
Respectfully.
Thank you, sir.
The committee determined that the following motions should be...
One moment.
Sorry about that.
Microphone 8A, would you please state your name, your church, and your motion?
Yes, my name is Rhett Burns, messenger from First Baptist Church, Travelers Rest in South Carolina. I want to move to schedule the Rhett Burns motion on financial transparency for debate under Bylaw 26 to give messengers an opportunity to vote on financial transparency at this convention. And I request to speak to the motion if allowed and call for discussion.
So a motion to suspend the rules, which is what you're making, is not debatable, and is a motion that has to be approved by a 2/3 vote. No. This is from the standing rule. Okay, so it's a majority vote to suspend this rule and to schedule this item for discussion later. And so if you approve this, it'll go to the Committee on Order of Business to be scheduled during this meeting for discussion. So the question before you is whether the question, if you vote in favor, you're voting in favor of not referring it, but scheduling it. And if you vote against, you're voting to have it go ahead and be referred, okay? So, are you ready for the question? Am I? I think so. All right. As many of you as are in favor of scheduling it rather than referring it, would you indicate by raising your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. As many as are opposed, would you indicate by raising your ballots? You may lower them. Those against are the majority. They have it, and the motion fails.
The committee determined that the following motions should be referred for consideration and report to the 2025 Southern Baptist Convention. To the North American Mission Board, Scott Talley from Florida presented a motion to appoint a task force to study how churches can be more effective in evangelism and baptisms. To the Executive Committee, John Ballard presented a motion to appoint a study team to consider how Southern Baptists from every cooperating state convention can serve on SBC boards, committees, commissions, and institutions. John Michael LaRue presented a motion to direct the president to appoint a task force to amend the Baptist Faith and Message 2000 to include affirmation of the Nicene, Apostles, and Athanasian, sorry if I said that wrong, creeds in the preamble and include them in an appendix to the confession. Wally Contreras presented a motion to request the EC form a task force to study the feasibility of remote participation in the SBC annual meeting. Tyler Pierce presented a motion to request the EC to prioritize funds to update SBC.net. Brandon Booth presented a motion to enable remote participation by messengers in the SBC annual meeting.
So it's moved from the Committee on Order of Business to refer these motions as displayed. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to the vote. Question before you is on the referral of these motions. As many of you as are in favor of referring, would you please raise your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. As many as are opposed, would you please raise your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. Those in favor have it. The motions are referred.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Committee on Order of Business recommends that the chair rule that the following motion is not in order as it is directed to an entity employed. Michael Borghese from Texas presented a motion to request the resignation of Brent Leatherwood as president of the ERLC.
The chair rules that the motion displayed on the screen is not in order for the reasons given. Okay, that concludes the report of the committee.
That concludes our report.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, very good. The chair will now recognize. Wait. We had somebody who wanted to make a motion at microphone 6, and I nearly forgot you. I'm sorry about that. Microphone 6A, please state your name, your church, and your motion.
Yes, again, my name is Randy Mann, pastor and messenger from Wake Crossroads Baptist Church in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I move that we amend the order of business to move the time slot for election of president up to the current resolution committee report slot, and then the resolution committee report to the evening session where the presidential election is currently scheduled.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay. Stand at ease for just a moment, please. So, this motion is in order, and we're going to give you an opportunity to speak to it right now.
Yes, sir. This is very simple. This is just one of the most important decisions that we'll make as the convention, as we're gathered here this year. It will likely impact the next 1 to 2 years of Southern Baptist life as we elect our leader and spokesperson. And as you look around this room, the room is completely full. I just believe that maximum participation in this particular issue is in order. And because of potential delays for dinner things and other things that might cause people to run late, this just seems urgent enough to handle while everyone is here in this afternoon session.
Okay. So, microphone 5A, would you like to speak against the motion?
This is Jim Gregory for Southern Baptist, Mountain Home, Idaho. I don't think we should move the time. There are several folks who are planning to be here at 7:05 who are not in the room at this moment, and I don't think that this would be fair to them to start this vote when they have been informed, like the rest of us, that it's 7:05.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to ask the Committee on Order of Business to respond to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for the motion that was submitted regarding the plan. Thank you for caring about the plan. We have worked hard on this plan prayerfully and consistently for a year now. I'm glad that you're now thinking about it today. You could have had that request a whole month ago, and we would have delightfully considered it. But like the brother just said, we don't want to mess up your guys' dinner plans. We have put it there for a reason. We also wanted to create the most robust amount of time so that you could make the most amount of business requests that you could in this specific session. And we just gave you 10 minutes on the last one, which shows that you're using it greatly. We don't want to create any more confusion. We want to create the space this evening to be right there for the election. We hope that you would make it on time. Thank you.
Okay. Microphone 9A, would you please state your name, your church, and your request or point of order?
Well, I think they hit the wrong button. I want to make a motion. My name is Chris Garner from Holly Grove Baptist Church.
Okay. Is it a subsidiary motion to the motion that's on the floor?
I would like to call it the question.
Okay. So you can't push that button to make that request. Sorry.
I promise I didn't push that button.
Okay. Well, I recognize that button, not you, and so I'm going to have to move on down the queue. 5B. Microphone 5B, would you please state your name and your church, and go ahead and make your case.
Kevin Short, I'm a messenger from the Critton Baptist Church in Dry Ridge, Kentucky. My point was just recently made, which is some of us are new to the convention, and we might need a little time to look through the ballot a little bit before making a decision, and this move would make that difficult.
Okay, thank you. Microphone 6A, would you please state your name, your church, and your case in favor? Are you wishing to speak in favor of the motion?
Josh Lancaster, Abilene Baptist Church, Augusta, Georgia. I wish to speak for the motion.
I'm sorry, my parliamentarian was talking to me and I missed. Did you ask me something?
I wish to speak for the motion.
Yeah, go ahead.
Given the number of candidates in this year's election, it would be wise for us to go ahead and proceed with the motion to realign it to this afternoon's session, given that it's likely to enter into a runoff. And my brother over here, the importance of this election is paramount to the next 2 years.
Okay. Microphone 10A. Just please state your name, your church, and you want to speak against the motion, right? Okay, please go ahead.
My name's Daryl Renault. I am the pastor from Cornerstone Baptist Church in Inverness, Florida. Simply put, we've had a schedule for months that everybody's had the ability to review, and as one of the former folks who spoke for the amendment said, that this is important. It's important enough for you to be here and follow the schedule. And so at this point, I'd like to call to question.
Is there a second? Okay. So the motion is to move the previous question, and it's not debatable, and so it will require 2/3 to end debate. All those who are in favor of ending debate, would you lift your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. All those opposed to ending debate, would you lift your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. Those in favor have it. Debate is ended. The previous question is moved. And so now you have before you. Microphone 5A, would you please state your name, your church, and your point of order?
Sorry, I believe this one was canceled.
Okay, thank you. So we are at the moment for the vote on the proposal to amend the order of business. If you are in favor of changing the order of business and moving the presidential election to this time slot, would you indicate by raising your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. If you're opposed, would you indicate by raising your ballots? Thank you. You may lower them. Those opposed have it, and the motion is lost.